Part 56. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 551. Chapter 551. Please don't do this, okay? Chiao Mianmian's face, which was already flushed, became even brighter in an instant. Even the delicate white earlobes are a little bit red. The way this man eats cake is too and provocative. Especially when he was eating the cake, his eyes were still staring at her. Chiao Mian had the illusion that what he was eating was not the cake, but her. Thinking of this, her little heart beat faster. My face is getting hotter and hotter. What's even worse is that when she fed the cake, some of it got on his lips, and the man went too far and licked the cake clean off his lips. The best moves are as you want them to be. A tempting mess. Chiao Mian even doubted whether he did it on purpose. It's delicious. Mo Yesi slowly licked the cake clean from his lips, then gently bit the pink spoon and said in a low voice, "Baby, keep feeding me." Chiao Mian. Can he really not see Shenro, who is about to explode with anger? If she continued to feed him, Shenro's gaze would kill her. A trembling voice rang out, breaking the charming atmosphere for a while. Chiao Mian turned her head and saw Shenro's eyes were red, looking extremely aggrieved and sad, and she looked at Mo Yesi with tears in her eyes. She spoke as if she was choking. "Are you still angry with me? I know it was my fault that day. I shouldn't have said some unpleasant words to humiliate Mianmian's brother before I figured out the facts. I know what I did was wrong. I am willing to apologize to Mian. As long as you can forgive me, you can do whatever you ask me to do. But please don't do this, I really won't be able to bear it." Mo Yesi turned his head and looked at her pitiful and groveling look. The expression on his face did not change at all, and he said in a very cold voice, "What are you doing here? Didn't I tell you that I don't have time today, meet you?" His cold attitude was completely different from the gentle and doting attitude he had shown when he faced Chiao Mian just now. When he faced Chiao Mian, his eyes were full of tenderness, and his gaze was so focused and affectionate that it was intoxicating. When facing Shenro, his eyes were not only indifferent, but also indifferent. Even, there is a trace of alienation. His attitude almost made Shenro collapse. The tears that were swirling in the corners of my eyes, but had not been shed, finally couldn't help but slip out of my eyes. She cried sadly, with a hurt look in her eyes, "ACI, do you have to be like this? You don't have time to see me, but when you heard that Mian was coming, you interrupted even the important meeting and came here to see her. Is this what you mean by not having time? You have time to see her, but you don't have time to see me. Do you have no time or don't want to see me?" Chiao Mian. It seems that liking someone really lowers one's IQ. Shenro is also a very smart woman. However, such an obvious question is asked. Is this the rhythm that wants Mo Yesi to directly say that he doesn't want to see her, so that she will be satisfied? However, judging from what Mo Yesi said just now, Shenro told him before she came that she would come to Mo's to find him. Then he rejected you because he didn't have time. Thinking of this, Chiao Mian felt a sense of joy in her heart, and suddenly wanted to reward Mo Yesi with a kiss. It seems that she has a very conscious husband. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 552. Chapter 552. I can't stand being ignored by her. Without her needing to step forward, he would automatically cut off all the peach blossoms around him. Even Shenro, a super peach blossom who has been growing beside him for more than 20 years, he kills decisively and not sloppily at all. Although as a married man, this is what he should do. However, there are not many married men who can take the initiative to do this. For someone like him, he is very self-conscious. Based on this alone, Chiao Mian felt that he should be rewarded. Moyesi still looked indifferently at Shenro, who had cried until her eyes were red and swollen. His voice was cold and ruthless, so cold that even Jiao Mian felt that he was a little too ruthless. Since you know that I don't want to see you, why are you still here? What to do? He spoke to Shenro in a cold voice, but his big hands gently stroked the top of Jiao Mian's hair. Mian is my wife, and of course I am available to her at any time. Shenro, friend and wife, there is no need for me to tell you the difference. You don't need to compare with Mian, your positions in my heart are not the same. And he ignored Shenro's extremely pale face, and while her tears were falling crazily, he picked up the cup on the table and drank from Jiao Mian's lipstick mark left on the edge of the cup, without any haste or delay. He said, "Don't act like you know me very well in front of my wife in the future. If she misunderstands me, it will take a long time to coax her. Although I don't mind coaxing her, she will ignore me when she gets angry. I can't stand being ignored by her. I am misophobic, but no one would be misophobic to his wife, do you understand? The cup on the table is porcelain white." Shenro had long seen the lipstick mark on the rim of the cup. When she saw Moyesi deliberately put his lips on Jiao Mian's remaining lipstick mark, she felt as if someone had slapped her face hard several times. It seems that you can hear the sound of Papa being slapped in the face. She suddenly realized that Moyesi had heard what she and Jiao Mian had said before. He is using practical actions to show that he doesn't mind at all. Shenro's biggest advantage over Jiao Mian is that she has been friends with Moyesi for more than 20 years. She and him were in the eyes of others a perfect match, childhood sweethearts. They are also the most suitable couple in the eyes of others. Not only that, she is also the only person of the opposite who can get close to Moyesi in the past 20 years. Moyesi has no other friends of the opposite except her. Even though he has never been very close to her, compared to others, Shenro is already very satisfied. No matter how he treats her, she surpasses all women just because of this special characteristic. She has always felt that no one can understand Moyesi better than her. But what Moyesi said just now directly denied that she knew him. Whether he really thought so in his heart or just said it deliberately so that Jiao Mian would not misunderstand, it made no difference to Shenro. They are all equally heart-piercing. My heart felt like it had been scratched by something sharp, it was and painful. She knows Moyesi very well. It is precisely because of understanding that she is in so much pain now. He really fell in love with Jiao Mian. He defended her so much that he was unwilling to let her suffer any injustice. But, does he know how deeply he hurts the woman next to him when he defends her? Recommend a good-looking article, it's free. Book title, Powerful Marriage, Mr. Liu, Flirting His Wife with Strength, author Rong Yuan. Introduction, honey, let's make a deal. What deal? From now on, I will be responsible for the rest of your life, and you will be responsible for my lower body. Roll. Hero and heroine one-on-one. 4 years ago, she left with the little bun in her belly in anger. 4 years later. Uncle, I see that you are dark-skinned and angry, and you obviously need a wife. Do you want to know about my mother? The CEO, who was not a womanizer, looked at the small ant-sized figure in front of him, his eyes darkened, and he packed up the mother and son and carried them home without saying a word. Thank you Mr. Wei for the reward. Thank you 13734 for the reward for ugly things. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 553. Chapter 553. Have you investigated me? Does he know how much his words will hurt her? Her heart was twitching, and the pain spread from the tip of her heart to her whole body. Her eyes were pricked red, and tears kept falling down her pale face. Her voice was trembling, and tears kept seeping out of her eyes like broken beads. Are you just defending her like this? How long have you known her? If you treat her so wholeheartedly, then she woolen cloth. Are you sure she feels the same way about you? She has a fiancé whom she has known for 10 years. They have a deep relationship and they almost got married. Not long after she broke up with her fiancé, she got together with you. Are you sure she didn't marry out of anger? Are you sure that she has completely forgotten about that man and loves you wholeheartedly? You. Moyesi's face darkened and his eyes became cold. Shenro, have you investigated me? Chiao Mian had been silent the whole time. She had originally thought of leaving these matters to Moyesi, and she could just watch from the sidelines. After all, it was he who brought this peach blossom that has followed him for more than 20 years. He has a somewhat special relationship with this peach blossom. It is a bit inappropriate to let others handle it. The most suitable candidate is him. His childhood sweetheart, his friend, no one is better than him at how to handle this relationship. However, when she heard Shenro talking about her and Suzy, Chiao Mian couldn't help it. The little universe inside her burned. Why are you investigating me? What does my ex and I have to do with you? Also, what is going on between me and my husband, whether I like him or not, has nothing to do with you. Even if you are his friend, in terms of relationship, he is just an outsider. What qualifications do you have to interfere in the affairs between our husband and wife? Why are you, a single woman, always staring at other people's husbands? Don't you think you are funny? Chiao Mian was so angry that she didn't think much about it. She could no longer care about the relationship between Moyesi and Shenro. Even if what she said now would affect his relationship with Shenro, she couldn't control it. Shenro is really too deceptive. He even went to investigate her. Moreover, he tried to alienate their relationship in various ways in front of her and her husband. Which one is tolerable or intolerable? No woman can bear it when her husband has such a scheming childhood sweetheart. What's more, this childhood sweetheart blatantly covets her husband. It is even more intolerable. Shenro was stunned for several seconds, probably because she didn't expect Chiao Mian to have an attack in front of Moyesi. Her first reaction was to see Moyesi's reaction. This woman usually pretended to be pure and well-behaved, gentle in front of him, but now she couldn't help it anymore and showed her true colors. Would Moyesi still like her when he saw her like this? Shenro's gloating mood could not last for 3 seconds before the expression on her face froze. She didn't see any disgusting expression on Moyesi's part. Even, there was a conniving and doting smile on his lips. It seems that he agrees with Chiao Mian's words. Is he obsessed with this woman to this extent? It doesn't matter what her nature is, she doesn't care? Shenro's face was pale, she bit her lips, and her body was trembling uncontrollably. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 554. Chapter 554. The woman next to him is his. Am I an outsider? I have known ACI for more than 20 years, and the relationship between us has long been beyond that of ordinary friends. I care about my friends, and I don't worry that he will just find a woman to marry so casually. I was afraid that he was cheated, so I went to investigate you. Shouldn't I do this? Didn't you take a fancy to Asi's identity and position as the young lady of the Mo family, so you married him so quickly? Chiao Mian, what are you pretending to be? You can deceive Asi, but you can't deceive me. At this moment, Shenro finally collapsed. All pretense has collapsed. After she realized that Moyesi really liked Chiao Mian and that she might really have no chance, she completely collapsed. You don't love ACI at all, Shenro shouted in a broken voice. you are not worthy of ACI being so kind to you. Chiao Mian, why do you let ACI treat you like this? Why? Just because she is my wife and the woman I like. Before Chiao Mian could think of a reply, Mo Yesi put his arm around her shoulders, his warm hands pressing firmly and possessively on her shoulders, as if announcing their relationship to others. The woman beside him is his. Looking at Shenro, who was in tears and obviously emotionally broken, Mo Yesi frowned, but finally softened a little. He was silent for a few seconds and said calmly, Shenro, this is the last time I will tell you this. Talk. I will not be casual about my marriage, and Mian is not a woman I found casually. She is the woman I have decided to spend my life with. I will not consider anyone else for Mrs. Mo's position except her. Also, this is also my last warning to you. It is not anyone else's turn to intervene in the matter between Mian and I, let alone you. If you do similar things in the name of doing good for me in the future, don't blame me for being rude. Even if you are the best friend, you cannot cross the line and interfere in things that you should not interfere in. This time, considering our past friendship, I will not argue with you. But the next time, no matter who it is, how to deal with it, I'll deal with it. Also, Mian is my wife, the woman I care about. Anyone who treats her badly is treating me badly. If she is unhappy, it also makes me unhappy. What should be said and what should not be said? You should know it in your heart. Don't force me to cut off the friendship we have had over the years with my own hands, and don't force me to do anything to you. Shenro opened her mouth, and tears fell on her lips one by one, and then rolled into the gap between her lips. She tasted the salty taste of tears. My heart hurts so much that I can't breathe. He was warning her. He said these heartless and cruel words to her in front of another person, which severely trampled her self-esteem and pride to the soles of her feet. Haven't even a trace of mercy left. The previous friendship and more than 20 years of companionship were nothing in his eyes. In his eyes, there was only one Chiao Mian. Even if that woman has known him for less than 1/10,000th of her time. Even if that woman is with him for profit. Even if that woman's sincerity for him is less than 1/10,000th of her. But for that woman, he could cut her heart mercilessly again and again. He really didn't care about her at all. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 555. Chapter 555 I Can Do Anything. She originally thought that she had the friendship of those years, but no matter what, she still occupied a certain position in his heart. But it wasn't until this moment that she realized she was wrong. Better wrong. Suddenly, Shenro felt very hateful. Obviously she is the one who understands him best, is the most suitable for him, and is the most sincere to him. She loved him for more than 20 years. From the beginning of love at first sight, it turned into a long-term love for more than 20 years. She liked him so much that she was almost obsessed. Even if he never gave the slightest response. She still holds hope and expectation in her heart. She thought that one day, he would discover her goodness and be impressed by her. He will also find that she is the most suitable for him, Mo Yesi. They were meant to be a couple. No matter when he plans to get married, the bride he chooses in the end will definitely be her. With such hope and expectation, she has been silently by his side. As long as the final result is sweet, it doesn't matter if the process is a little more difficult and tortuous. But now, all her hopes and all her expectations were dashed. He suddenly got married and had a wife, and that person was not Shenro. But he was a little-known actor with a low background, and I had only known him for less than a month. How could she be willing to do this? She is really hateful. Wei Zheng Mo Yesi pressed the intercom, and his ruthless voice reached Shenro's ears word for word, "Come here and send Miss Shen away." After hanging up the phone, Mo Yesi raised his eyes and looked coldly at Shenro, who was already crying. He ruthlessly ordered Wei Zheng to send you out. I'll ask Wei Zheng to send you off. If there's nothing particularly important in the future, don't come to the company to find me. I have been very busy recently and have no time to receive you. Don't have time to receive me, Shenro suddenly sneered, the corners of her lips raised a mocking arc, and she looked at Jiao Mian with hatred in her eyes. But if Jiao Mian wants to see you, you are always available, right? Mo Yesi narrowed his eyes and looked a little impatient. I told you, you are different. Yes, you just said. Shenro wiped her tears and mocked, it turns out that I was wrong. If I had known this was the case, I would have. She stopped speaking mid-sentence, and raised the corners of her lips mockingly. He reached out and wiped away the tears from the corners of his eyes and the tear stains on his face bit by bit. ACI, since we were little, you should be the clearest about my feelings for you. Everything I do is for your own good. I can do anything. Anyone in this world may hurt you, but I won't. Jiao Mian, she. Shenro looked at Jiao Mian, and the sarcastic arc on her lips deepened. Sooner or later, you will know who is really good to you, and some people just take advantage of your status and take advantage of you. Mo Yesi frowned and was about to get angry, but Jiao Mian spoke before him. Miss Shen, do you mean that the reason why I am with Mo Yesi is because of his status and power? Shenro had disdain in her eyes. Otherwise, you and ACI have only known each other for a long time, and how much do you know about each other? Did you still marry him out of love? Of course not. Jiao Mian immediately denied it. Shenro was stunned for a moment, with an unexpected expression on her face. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 556. Chapter 556. I did it for his face. It seemed like she didn't expect that she would answer like this. Jiao Mian could feel that as soon as she finished speaking, the air pressure around the man next to her suddenly dropped. The big hand that rested on the top of her hair froze obviously, and the stroking movement slowly stopped. There was air conditioning, released from the position beside her. In the sweltering summer weather, she suddenly felt a deep chill. She pursed her lips and smiled, met Shenro's surprised and doubtful eyes, and said the next sentence slowly and slowly, compared to money and power, I think his face and figure are more attractive to me. Miss Shen, do you think that Mo Yesi and I are only together because of his money and power? Doesn't it belittle his personal charm too much? Don't you think that with such a beautiful face? Nothing else matters. If you have to say what I want to do with him, then it's him. Don't you think it is a very happy thing to marry a man with impeccable appearance and figure? Every day when you open your eyes and see such a handsome face, you feel so wonderful. Even if you just drink every day, eating steamed buns with porridge is also satisfying. The big hand that paused for a moment is no longer so stiff, and the low air pressure that makes it difficult to breathe has also disappeared little by little. Shenro's face showed a look of astonishment again. Her expression changed again and again, and she felt a sense of embarrassment after being teased. Jiao Mian, you. So please don't say again that I am with him for his money and status. I will tell you clearly now that I am with him for his face. Appearance is justice, and there is no face for Yango. Important. Do you understand? How could Shenro believe that she was only with Mo Yesi for the sake of face? This woman is just talking cleverly. But she saw that the expression on Mo Yesi's face had softened, and there was even a fond smile on his lips, and she couldn't help but become anxious. ACI, she lied, you can't. Enough. Mo Yesi turned to her, his eyes became cold, and the coldness around him gathered again. Shenro, you can leave. It is not your turn as an outsider to question the matters between our husband and wife. I don't want to repeat the same thing a third time. The patience in Moyesi's eyes gradually wore away, and his tone became colder, without even the slightest trace of mercy. Get out. His tone was almost equivalent to expulsion. Shenro lost all her face, and she lost it all in front of Chiao Mian. All the color drained from her face, and big tears fell from the corners of her eyes. At this time, the office door was pushed open. Wei Zheng walked in at the right time. Seeing Shenro's face full of tears, he was stunned for a moment, but soon returned to normal. He turned his head away and called respectfully, "Mr. Mo, Madam." Moyesi never looked at Shenro again and said coldly, "Send Miss Shen away." "Yes, Mr. Mo." Wei Zheng then turned around and looked at Shenro's eyes that were red and swollen from crying. He sighed secretly in his heart and bent down to make a please gesture to her. "Miss Shen, please." He knew this would be the result. Yumo always cherishes the young lady so much that no matter who he is, he has to step aside. So what about childhood sweethearts? End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 557. Chapter 557. I will never be a threat to you. Not as important as his wife. If Shenro was smarter, everyone could continue to live in harmony and remain friends. But obviously, she was irrational this time. Wei Zheng has never seen anyone quarrel with Mr. Mo. In the end, Mr. Mo suffered the loss. No, that's not right. There was no such thing before, but now, there is a young lady. But Shenro is not a young lady. So, the young master will not spoil her. The young master's patience and good temper will only be given to the young madam. Shenro bit her lip, her pale face wet with tears again. Before leaving, she took a deep look at Chiao Mian with her hateful eyes. Asterisk. After Wei Zheng and Shenro left, Moyesi pulled up the seat and held Chiao Mian in his arms. "I didn't know she would come." He took the initiative to explain why Shenro appeared here. "An hour ago, she told me that she wanted to come to me, but I refused. I didn't expect that she would still come." "What did she say to you during my absence?" The man lowered his deep black eyes, with a hint of unnoticeable tension in his eyes. "Didn't you hear everything?" Chiao Mian blinked, leaned on his chest, listened to his strong heartbeat, and joked, "You said you had rejected her before, she will definitely understand you." "Meaning? But it doesn't look like it to me." "Did you lie to me?" "No." Moyesi replied without hesitation, "I won't lie to you. Everything I said to you is true. I rejected her, but what did she think and how did she decide? I can't control it. I only know that no matter what she thinks, it has nothing to do with me. My wife will only be you. Apart from you, no one is qualified to be MRSMO." When the man's eyes as deep as night stared at her firmly and tenderly, Chiao Mian heard the sound of her heart racing. "Have you really never liked Shenro?" She hesitated for a few seconds and asked curiously. From her perspective as a woman, she felt that Shenro was indeed excellent. She is the kind of woman who easily attracts men. She has a good appearance and a good family background. She graduated from a prestigious foreign university and is said to be a moderately successful fashion designer in the industry. No matter what the conditions are, he is a perfect match for Moyesi. Not to mention, they grew up together. Is Moyesi really not moved? Actually, Chiao Mian asked these questions out of pure curiosity. No other meaning. But Moyesi sensed the intention of testing him, and immediately sternly distanced himself from the relationship between the two, quickly denying, "No, she is not my type. I just feel like a friend to her." "She's not your type." This answer surprised Chiao Mian, which made her a little bit unexpected. She blinked and became more curious. Her conditions are almost perfect, right? But you don't like it? Then, what type do you like? As soon as I finished asking, I felt a hot gaze falling on my head. Baby, you are my type. Mo. Yes, he pinched her chin, raised it slightly, and his hot and deep gaze fell into her eyes, full of intoxicating affection. I have been waiting for more than 20 years. Wait, don't you understand what I mean? Don't worry, Shenro will never be a threat to you. Chiao Mianmian's face felt a little hot. I'm not worried. Who said she was worried about Shenro? End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 558. Chapter 558. It starts with appearance, but it's definitely not just about appearance. If I like someone, I would have done it long ago. It's not my style to stay put. Chiao Mian. This point she could not refute. He is indeed an activist. Otherwise, it would be impossible for them to obtain a marriage certificate on the day they first met. It seems that he really doesn't like Shenro anymore. But said he likes her type? Chiao Mian didn't quite believe it. It's not that she is not confident enough in herself, but that when she and Mo Yesi were together, the two of them didn't get together because they liked each other. She is doing it for Chiao Chen. Him, because of his strange problem. At the beginning, it was just a marriage of each getting what he needed. Only gradually, this marriage that focused on their own interests seemed to have changed a bit. From the beginning, she was ready for divorce, but now she is gradually looking forward to this marriage. From the outsider mentality at the beginning, she began to truly accept her married status and accept that she has a husband named Mo Yesi. Is there anything else you want to ask? The man's slender fingers tapped the tip of her nose lovingly. You can ask me any questions you want, and I will answer you except for things I don't know. His openness made Chiao Mian lose the desire to ask questions. Other than being curious about what happened just now, she really had nothing else to ask. She shook her head and said, I have nothing more to ask. Are you sure? Mo Yesi seemed to be regretful. You can think about it again. You really have nothing to ask me. There seems to be a problem. Mo Yesi, what do you like about me? Chiao Mian asked seriously, are you attracted by my beauty? After all, apart from her beauty, she has nothing else to shine. Mo Yesi. He suddenly remembered what Chiao Mian had just said to Shenro. She said she was with him because of his face. Even though he knew that she might have made it up, at this moment, he still wanted to know what she was thinking. Chiao Mian was stunned. I asked you first. Well, it starts with appearance, but it's definitely not just about appearance. Mo Yesi answered her question. There are too many specific things that I can't say, but you are my type. I knew it the first time I saw you. He had never concealed his feelings in front of her. This is not the first time that I told her that I like her. At this moment, Chiao Mian still felt excited. Facing such a man, even if he confesses to her 1,000 or 10,000 times, she will still be moved. Who can withstand such a man who is full of hormones? I've finished answering, it's your turn. Mo Yesi pinched her small chin, seemingly indifferent on the surface, but there was a trace of deep hidden tension and expectation in his heart. He was waiting for her answer. At this moment, my mood turned out to be very complicated. A little afraid that her answer was not what he wanted to hear. But I am looking forward to what she will do. Chiao Mian opened her mouth, and as soon as she said a word, there was a sudden knock on the door. Wei Zheng's voice sounded outside. Mr. Mo, do you want the meeting to continue? Everyone is still waiting for you in the conference room. The sudden knock on the door made Mo Yesi feel a little dissatisfied. He originally wanted to dismiss the meeting regardless, but thinking about many things that had not yet been dealt with, he frowned tightly and surrounded Chiao. The strong arms around Mianmian's waist slowly relaxed. Update completed today. Thank you Clover for the tip. Thank you 185 8008, Sister Feng, for the reward that reigns in Tokyo and reaches Paris. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 559. Chapter 559. Except for the young lady, no one else is allowed to come up. I still have to go to a meeting. He looked extremely reluctant, as if he was being forced to go uphill, and said in a dull voice, "Think about the question just now, and then tell me after you have thought it through." Because he never made a sound, Wei Zhen knocked on the door again, with a louder volume. "Mr. Mo, are you there?" Normally, Wei Zhen would just open the door and go in. But now, he doesn't dare. Who knows what Mr. Mo is doing with the young lady in the office? He would not die without committing suicide. With a click, the closed door was opened. Wei Zhen raised his head and saw Mo Yesi walking out with half-closed eyes. The displeasure hidden in his eyes made him tremble. He swallowed nervously. "Mr. Mo." Snored. Mo Yesi walked past him expressionlessly, letting out a slight snort from his nose. Wei Zhen. Mr. Mo is angry, or is he angry? Is it possible that he was really making out with the young lady in the office just now and was interrupted by him? Thinking of this, Wei Zhen was even more frightened. For a moment, he felt that his life was miserable, and he would probably be sent to the border of a certain country to dig coal soon. He quickly followed in small steps, and explained in a low voice behind him with a bitter look on his face, "Mr. Mo, Mr. Chen asked me to come here to ask you. He said that there are some very important documents that need your personal approval. So, it's none of his business. He is innocent. If you want to dig coal, just send Mr. Chen there." As he walked outside the conference room, Mo Yesi paused for a moment, and the heart of Wei Zhen, who was following behind him, also paused. He said cautiously, "Mr. Mo." Mo Yesi turned around and looked at him with a very oppressive gaze. When his cold eyes fell on him, Wei Zhen almost didn't dare to take a breath. "From now on, except for the young lady, no one else is allowed to come up without my permission. And no one is allowed to enter my office casually. If anything goes wrong again, you can go to country F to dig coal." Wei Zhen is always worried about being sent to country F to dig coal. Asterisk. Shenro left Mo's family and drove to a bar. All the bar staff knew her, and when they saw her getting out of the car, someone immediately came forward to greet her. Ms. Shen, the staff greeted her into the bar respectfully. She walked to a bar and sat down, ordering several glasses of wine in one go. She was drinking and crying. Seeing this, the bartender asked cautiously, "Miss Shen, are you unhappy?" Shenro is a frequent visitor to this bar. She had never been so out of character before when she came here. The bartender looked at her crying with curiosity and confusion. The eldest daughter of the Shen family is of noble birth and has both talent and beauty. She has always been able to get the wind and rain. Who could make her sad like this? Shenro drank a cocktail, raised her head, and looked at the bartender with unwillingness in her eyes. After looking at it for a few seconds, she suddenly stood up and bent close to the bartender, and her hot breath spread onto the bartender's face. The bartender was stunned for a moment, then his face turned red, and he shouted in a panic, "Miss Shen." Shenro looked at his panicked look and sneered. She blew a breath of hot breath onto the bartender's face and said seductively, "Do you think I'm beautiful?" The bartender was stunned again. He blushed and glanced at the extremely bright and charming face in front of him. His heart beat faster and he stammered, "Miss Shen, she is very, very beautiful." End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 560. Chapter 560, Who am I in his eyes? Really? Shenro sneered again. The bartender nodded heavily, as if he was afraid that she wouldn't believe it, and said a little excitedly, really, Miss Shen is the most beautiful of all the women I have ever seen. Hearing the words the most beautiful, Shenro's expression suddenly changed. She picked up another cocktail on the table and drank it in one gulp. Then do you like me? After Shenro drank the wine, she suddenly smiled charmingly and stretched out her hand to pinch the little bartender's face. Miss Shen, you. The bartender looked at her blankly. The young bartender had no resistance to Shenro, a top-notch white and rich beauty. He happily thought that Shenro had taken a liking to him, and his face immediately changed. He showed an expression of joy. He immediately replied, I like it, of course I do. Miss Shen is the goddess of all men. There is no one who doesn't like you. Really? Is there any man who doesn't like me? A look of surprise appeared on Shenro's face, but thinking of Mo Yesie's coldness and ruthlessness, her eyes became moist again. All men will like her. But does not include him. But apart from him, she didn't care who liked him. She just wants to be liked by him. But he already has another woman in his heart. For that woman, he could break her heart until it bleeds, and he didn't care at all. He doesn't care how much pain she feels. It doesn't matter how badly she is hurt. He could not even care at all about her sincerity and emotional dedication over the past 20 years. Just because he fell in love with that woman named Xiao Mian. She knew that at this time, she should let go of his hand freely and leave proudly. She is the eldest daughter of the Shen family. She has been the envy and admiration of everyone since she was a child. She is a winner in life in the eyes of others. How could she entangle a man regardless of her self-respect? If people find out, I don't know how they will laugh at her. The eldest lady of the Shen family cannot do such low things as pestering men. However, she was really unwilling to do so. He snatched it away without saying a word. By the time she knew everything, it was already too late. He skipped the process of falling in love and directly obtained a marriage certificate from the woman. Suddenly he had a wife. Suddenly he became someone else's husband. Then he started to break up with her and draw a clear boundary. All men will like me, but why won't he like me? Why, he would rather like a woman he has known for less than a month than choose me. Who am I in his eyes? Why can he marry a woman like that and not consider me? She is really unwilling to do so. How could she quit willingly after losing to such a woman? She hates it too. Hate herself why she couldn't take the initiative, why she had to guard that ridiculous pride and passively wait for maybe one day, he would fall in love with her and confess to her first. If she had been willing to put down her dignity and pursue him actively. Perhaps, she won't lose him. She didn't know if it was too late for her to regret it now, but she was really unwilling to let her go and couldn't do it. A relationship of more than 20 years. Asking her to let go is undoubtedly equivalent to cutting off a piece of flesh from her heart. Although it won't make her die immediately, it will still make her miserable. Miss Shen, please stop drinking. The bartender watched her put one cocktail after another into her mouth, and said a little worriedly, you have already drank a lot. If you keep drinking like this, you will get drunk. End of this chapter.